Hey everybody, and Merry Christmas week. Today we are at Emerson Point Preserve in Palmetto, Florida. And today we're just kind of enjoying the sunshine, enjoying the nice temperatures. It's like mid 70s right now. It's totally beautiful. I'm gonna go get some steps in and then also get some geocaches, hopefully. I have not been here since the hurricane, so we'll see how everything's kind of holding up. But what's really interesting is if you do come here, you'll notice on the way you go over a bridge. Well, this park in this area is actually on a separate island. It's called Sneed Island. And once you get into the park, there's a bunch of different places that you can park depending on what you want to go and take a look at. So we'll go and explore a little bit today. So we ended up parking right at the first parking area. There's people there, so I can't show you. But we're gonna go ahead and walk down here. This is the Ranger Station Welcome Center. You could have parked down here as well, but it's closer where we parked to where we're going to leave later. I actually was totally unaware that they had all this parking down here. I always park right down the street, and I get really frustrated if there's no parking because there's only room for like 4 or 5 cars. But there's a ton of parking down here, so don't be afraid to drive down this way. There's also restrooms, which I had no idea they had either. Unfortunately, due to the storm damage, public restrooms are temporarily unavailable. They were these over here, but they do have some porta potties. So there are restrooms available. They also have a nice picnic area and pavilion overlooking the water. And right over here to the left, you can see there's a trail, and that is the trail that we're going to be starting on today. Here we have a notice that's a state archaeological site. And it's a bit hard to see on camera, but if you can see, there's a hill here. Well, there's no hills in Florida. So when you see these places that are built up, let me see if I zoom out a bit, you can tell better. If you see these places that are built up, those are all burial mounds. I can't believe all this destruction. All of this is all from the hurricanes, but they did an amazing job clearing these paths out. I mean, you really have to give it to them. But this I remember before. Oh, I really have to go back and see if I can find my old video. But this that has the stairs, this is the big burial mound that's here. And again, it really doesn't look like much, but when you think about the fact that, there are no hills here, then you can appreciate it a bit more, that it actually is something that was man-made. But wow. Now we're going down the other side, and this is the side you actually would have come up if you came from the parking lot the other way. The sun's in a bit of a bad angle, but you can tell a bit how high up we are on this mound. Let's see over here, you can tell a bit better. And it's right against the ocean down there. Say we're at least 20, 30 feet up. Whenever you're on these mounds, you'll always notice a lot of shells, and that's what they used in order to build them up. So the shells are not here simply because this is a path. If all of these trees were not down and you were to look in the forest, you would actually see tons of seashells as well. This is actually the big burial mound. So we'll head up there. Don't be like these people going up and down for exercise. This is a sacred place for these Native Americans. But here you have a bunch of informational plaques. And this is actually the one that's the closest to the parking lot. I do believe that this one would be considered at least stroller accessible. And again, this one is the closer one to the parking lot as well. So just something to consider. If you do have a stroller, you should be able to make it up this one, no problem. And again, this one you can kind of tell a little bit better how large it is or how tall it is. One thing I will say about this park is that the trails are not labeled at all. They do have like little markers every once in a while or maps that say like you are here, but then there's like 3 trails that have offshoots. So don't come here if you are easily if you easily get nervous about being lost or anything like that, or if you're on a time crunch, because a lot of it is just kind of like wandering around and seeing where you end up. Even though we're on the water, they do have some different ecosystems. Like I think this is possibly considered a tidal marsh. Nothing too exciting. Got a little egret that just grabbed a little fish. If you parked at that first parking spot, this is where you would cross the road. And we have the Restoration Trail North. And this is just a nice little loop. I'll show you on the map. So you're looking at the tan color and then the green color. So we're going to do all of this. Then we're going to hit the green and hit the tower. I want to go all the way down here to the pink and then back is my goal for today. They do have some stuff down here, but not really. This little path is like almost completely inaccessible all the time. So main focus is going to be this area. This is about what this North Preserve trail looks like. It's not too exciting, but there's a good amount of shade in the summer. And up here we have a junction in the road. If you wanted to go left, that would bring you to the tower, which we will do later. And to the right is going to bring us on the North Trail. So right we go. Here's another pretty area. And even though we don't really have too much for seasons here in Florida, you can definitely tell it's the winter time just from the condition and the brown grass and everything like that. So, at least you get a little seasonality here. Not much, but something. Just came across this on the North Loop. Terracea Trail closed due to hurricane damage. So there are still some more trails that need to be re-cleared. We'll see how the tower is. That's what I'm really interested about. I was actually debating bringing Piper with me today, but I wasn't positive if dogs were allowed. And at least on this trail, dogs are allowed, but they must be on a leash. We're now headed toward the boardwalk and the tower. And I do want to point out that you don't have to park where I parked. There is another parking area that is closer. But just keep in mind that if that parking area is totally full, you can park where I did or at that visitor center, had tons of parking options. Now again, I parked in that first parking area. However, if your main goal here is to go to the tower or you're with somebody that doesn't really want to walk that much, you can easily go ahead and park here at this parking area. Just keep in mind that if this area is full, you can park where I did or where that visitor center was located as well, and you can walk over on the path nice and safely. The path to the observation tower is these boardwalks. We'll see what kind of wildlife we can see in the mangroves up here. Normally you can see a lot of little fish in the water. Maybe we'll get really lucky and see something interesting like a manatee, but I doubt it because there's people walking right ahead of me, and if there was something really cool, they would have said something. But we'll see. As you can see, it's a bit low tide now. You can see the roots of the mangroves much better. Down here you can see all little holes. These are all little crabs. I don't see any crabs walking around right now though, because during high tide this would all be filled with water. And up here we have an osprey in a nest. Eventually you'll get off the boardwalk onto pavement. Onto sand. But it's not that bad from here. Another view of the osprey as well. Now this is marked as the Tower Loop Trail, and I believe last time I went left and that was the wrong way to go. So we're gonna go right this time. These lines were for an older gentleman and a walker. I would not say that this is walker friendly once you get past that boardwalk, so just keep that in mind. It's still totally fine for a stroller, but if you are somebody with mobility issues, this would not be the safest path to go on. Yeah, going right was probably actually the bad move. I think were supposed to go left up there, but it did bring me here. The Terracea Overlook Trail is closed. So after we do this, I'm not sure which way we're going to go. Here's the tower. It's a pretty good size. People up there right now. It's not too tall.
Where's the driver?
So at the top of the observation tower, some really good views of Tampa Bay, the Sunshine Skyway, and downtown St. Pete. Unfortunately, because that Terracea Trail is closed, that really messed up my plans. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to maybe go back and do the North Loop again and call it a day. I just want to say one more thing about the tower before I head out of this area. It is not like a regular tower. Like, I get really freaked out on fire towers and stuff like that, but it's just like regular stairs. So even if you're afraid of stairs or afraid of heights, you should have no issue on this tower. Thanks so much for joining me today. I actually forgot to do a summary video, and I'm actually already at my next spot. I don't know if you can see, I'm at Cockroach Bay, so that'll be in the next video. So thanks for joining me today at Emerson Point Preserve, and I will see you next time.